Friends, welcome to Supreme Status YouTube channel. And sorry for the delay. I have been not able to post some videos because of workload. Now we are back again, and now today we will be seeing not a essay session or cognition session. It will be like an entire all-in-one session. So that much of importance this topic is having. So please watch our video. And today we are going to discuss about Indian Forest Tax. I know many of us will have some so much confusion with respect to environmental laws in India, because we have that much of environmental laws and rules, so that we will be having confusion, and it's very normal. And even during my preparation stage also, this is very tough for me, because this area which act has came with which provisions, these are all very tough actually. I'm going to take this class, and I hope it will bring you clarity, and very much you will be able to you will be able to revise these laws very quickly. So I have framed this video like that, and this will be a 3-part video. So first we will be seeing about colonial period, what under all the forest tax enacted during the colonial period, and then post independence era, what has been done. So we will be seeing like that. Before we go into the Indian Forest Act, let us see some basic introduction. And because this introduction will be very much useful for your mains answer writing, especially the data you are providing, it will fetch you higher marks, as I have already told. So here the introduction is about the forest coverage. So we should have at least 33% of total area under forest cover. However, our forest vegetation is only 24.62% as per Forest Survey Report 2021. So you have to indicate Forest Survey Report 2021 and then write these data. Especially current vegetation cover is only 24.62%. Before British period, that means colonial period, we do have more than 33% of total land area under forest cover. Everybody knows about it, but after the British period and the commercial exploitation of forest happened, it did get reduced to the 24.62%. So previously in 2019 report, it was only 21.5%, I think. However, it got slightly improved to 24.62% now. And major reason for this forest exploitation is growth in population and industrialization and urbanization, because once a nation turns into urbanization or industrialization, it demands more natural resources like wood, fuel, fodder. So for all these things, we have to destroy the forest, then only we can get this fuel or wood or like this forest producers. And this led to the alarming exploitation of forest in India. So because of these things, we needed a strong law to control the usage of forest. And we will see about what under all the laws has been enacted from the British period in a chronological order, and we can see how forest law is controlling this forest exploitation. Now let us see about the forest laws and policies in India. So mainly these are the forest acts. The first one is Indian Forest Act 1865, and this is the first legislation or first act to talk about the forest rights. I mean, how a forest produce will be used, or who will own the forest. So that was clearly demarcated or clearly indicated in the Indian Forest Act of 1865. Then came the 1878 Act, and this act actually categorized the forest into 3 types, like reserve forest, protected forest, and village forest. And this becomes followed by, even today we are having the concept of reserved forest and protected forest, and this is the starting point of those categorization. However, British, they have categorized for the commercial purpose, not for the forest conservation. But we, after independence, have followed the same approach for the forest conservation only. And then Indian Forest Act 1927, it was like an extension of the 1878 Act only. Again, that categorization of forest, it was clearly mentioned. Indian Forest Act 1927 is very important, because till 1980 Forest Conservation Act, we have been following the provisions of Forest Act of 1927 only. So it is very important act. You have to take note out of it, because it may be, you may use this for the various topics which have been asked under the environment laws. So then the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, and this is especially introduced for the protection of subspecies, either the plants or animals which are covered under the Wildlife Protection Act. Ultimately, wildlife means it majorly comprises of plants and animals only. So to protect them, this Wildlife Protection Act was introduced. But because wildlife is part of the forest, so I have taken this under the Forest Act. So then Forest Conservation Act 1980, it is the Bible, very important. And till now our forest conservation is based on this Forest Conservation Act 1980 only. So that much of importance it holds. And we will see in detail about the Forest Conservation Act 1980 also. And recently the Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023 is going to make a is going to bring some major changes in this Forest Conservation Act 1980 only. Then Environmental Protection Act 1986, and this is based on the Stockholm Conference. So Stockholm Conference is mainly it mainly discusses about the pollutions, air pollution, water pollution, and these pollutions, how to manage the pollutions, or how to protect our environment from the pollutions have been discussed under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. So this is also important because environment pollution had a huge impact on the forest, India's forest wealth also. So then, because climate change, you have no, so climate change is very important for the forest conservation. So then National Forest Policy in 1988, and this is also the important policy, how to use the forest produce, or how to give the environment clearance, or how to give clearance for the forest, that was discussed in the National Forest Policy. So how to improve the forest cover, so that was discussed in the National Forest Policy 1988. Then Biodiversity Protection Act 2003, and this is based on the 1992 Rio Earth Summit. So CBD, the Convention on Biological Diversity. We have been the signatory of CBD, so we have enacted this Biodiversity Protection Act, where the biosphere reserves, those are indicated, or how to preserve the biosphere reserve, these were indicated in the Biodiversity Protection Act, and we will see this law also. And Scheduled Tribe and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers, Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006. See, India, we have been before the British period, we have the forest wealth, that much of forest wealth, and we have the forest cover, one of the most densely forest cover countries in the world. So this was because of the scheduled tribes only. They have been the protector of the forest since beginning, because they take whatever the produce they need. I mean, whatever they need from the forest, and they also safeguarded the forest. They have been the natural protector of the forest areas. However, because of these acts like Indian Forest Acts and Environment Protection Acts, so the rights have been threatened. So we can say that the entirely the livelihood itself is dependent on the forest only. However, these laws have diluted the rights. So to reaffirm the rights, the Scheduled Tribe and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act was enacted, and this is also very important right, and we will see in detail about this law also. Then Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023. This is the recent bill which have been enacted, or which is in the bone of contention. So this is a short intro. What we are going to see, I have written in the board. So we will be seeing these laws one by one. On the Wildlife Protection Act and the Environmental Protection Act and the Biodiversity Protection Act. This we will see in the separate video, because for the continuity we will see the Forest Act till 1927, and then we will jump into the Forest Conservation Act 1980, Forest Policy, and then that amendment bill. So only you can easily understand the continuity of the laws, how it was made, how it was done. You can easily understand. So for this purpose, I am going to take the classes, and now we will see up to Indian Forest Act of 1927. So now we can start with the Indian Forest Act 1865, and we will see up to 1927. So this is the first major act, 1865 Act, and we have to analyze why this act was introduced, because around 1850 Lord Dalhousie period itself, a modernization of India project was started. So that means railway lines, telegraph lines, and construction of bridges and tanks. So this has been started, and the Public Work Department, they have started this development projects in the 1857, 56 itself. So to complete that project, I mean especially for the railway completion, they needed timber, and also they need to destroy some forest areas. However, since forest was under the control of village people and also some tribal peoples, they are not able to achieve that achieve this forest completion easily, because they have faced some stiff resistance from these local people, especially village and tribal people. So they have the main objective for this Forest Act is for the development of railways also, and other development projects. They needed the control on forest. So only they have declared this Forest Act 1865. So you would have known before British period we have enough forest cover, but after the British period only we have seen the deterioration because of these acts only, we can say. So to start with the Indian Forest Act 1865, so it is the first major law to control forest in India. Before that, there is no major law to control forest or forest produce, and this became the first major law in India to protect the forest. And Forest Department was introduced in India in 1864 itself. However, it was officially recognized under this Indian Forest Act 1865. And the major objective of the Forest Department is they will take the survey. That means how much forest cover is there, and which and all the products the forest can produce, and what and all the topography of the forest, so that the British can exploit the forest resource very cleverly. So this is the major objective of the Forest Department, and it was established under this act. and here their objective is mainly to assert their claim on forest land, because already they have asserted their claim on all the places, especially the provinces. So now they want to assert their claim on forest itself, or forest also, because they need that the timber, because you can see the compartments, the earlier compartments, they were made of the rail compartments were made of timber only. So for the timber production, they needed this forest. So British objective was very clear. They want to develop the railways. For that they need the forest land, because timber production, and also for forest clearance also, they have to do to develop the railways or telegraph communication lines. They have, if they want to develop those lines, means they want to clear the forest also. So this is the main reasons why this colonial period, I mean this Indian Forest Act 1865 was enacted. Also it allowed local governments to declare any land as a forest, state forest or government forest. See here, the collector, local government means the collector himself can declare any land covered with the trees as a state forest or government forest. So this means if for example, if one particular area is covered with the trees, and that particular area is acted as a hindrance for the development of railway, means then collector can declare that particular part, that smaller part which are consisted of trees, as a forest, and that they can easily swipe out those forests. I mean swipe out those trees, so that they can easily develop the forest produce. They can develop the railways. So here. This is one of the reason why they have empowered the local government itself to declare any land as a state or government forest. And here the government forest means that land should be covered with the trees, brushwood, or it should be a jungle. And one important thing is here revenue official himself can choose one particular block as a reserve forest. So here the forest official, here only forest official can have some basic understanding about the forest, and here the revenue official has been empowered to declare a particular area as a reserve forest. So this itself indicates that the main objective of this Indian Forest Act 1865 is for the commercial exploitation of the forest, or you can say for the development of railways and other modern projects. They want to clear the forest. So this has been the main objective of the Indian Forest Act 1865.